Alkmaar, Feyenoord, Eindhoven, Ajax. We'll defeat them all.
You know we haven't won a title in almost 90 years?
Bruh.
Ronald, do you have any final words? Yeesh. Just avoid relegation. You're hired. Ronald Koeman is not a pretty fellow, and the squad did not really like the look of him or his ridiculous suit. However, the goal to avoid relegation with Go Ahead Eagles will not be an easy feat. Looking through the squad, there were a few issues. Center backs were nearly non-existent, and Koeman loves to use 3 of them. To him, everything comes best in 3s, which is definitely not an excuse for his poor defensive managerial ability. The next problem is the abundance of left backs. I guess the position will be fine if some get injured. The final problem is the abundance of wingers. Ronald wanted to play a 3-4-1-2, but with a lot of these guys just joining, that couldn't really be done. Now, a big reason Koeman was hired was due to his past with Bayern Munich. The resume says he was a youth coach there, and there were several Dutch articles mentioning it. I personally couldn't find anything, but the narrative remained. That's because the first ever signing was a loan from Bayern. Eyüp Aydin, who's an incredible midfielder for his age, and whose contract is expiring at the end of the season. He was joined by other loanees already at the club, including Oppegaard, Del Rio from Valencia, and Fontan of Celta de Vigo, who would start in the back 3. Before opening day, there was one more signing.
It's Shabalala! Goal! Bafana! Bafana! Goal for South Africa! Goal for all Africa!
Go Ahead Eagles had the vibes, but would that be enough with AZ and PSV in the first 2 matches?
What did he say?
The Eredivisie is an 18-club league where the bottom 2 get relegated, and 16th goes into a playoff with a second division side to stay in the league. As the adventure continues, you'll learn more about the league and its teams. Opening day had AZ Alkmaar, a well-known Eredivisie side who last won the title in 2009. That was when Louis van Gaal was running things. They're currently filled with great first-team players like Sugawara and Jesper Karlsson, while also having several young players ready to take the next step. However, it'd be their midfield of Jordi Clasie and De Witt who would make the difference. A penalty given in the 63rd minute broke the deadlock, and Danny De Witt got behind the back line a few minutes later to grab AZ's second. By the way, if you end up enjoying the video, make sure to watch another at the end, as I've done series on several teams already. Alright, enjoy the rest. There must have been an agenda against Go Ahead Eagles.
You always think there's a campaign against you.
Yes.
Because PSV on the second match day was cruel. Coached by the legend Ruud van Nistelrooy, they are the second most successful club in the Netherlands, winning 24 league titles, and have won what is now known as the Champions League in 1988. Their key players are Xavi Simons, previously at PSG, a fantastic ball winner named Ibrahim Sangare, and of course, the legend Luke de Jong.
Be ready for these small moments.
The Eagles, though, would have their first great chance as Adekanye smacked the bar from an odd angle. A little bit before the half, Eagles midfielder Lindberg needed some medical treatment, but PSV kept on playing. No. What is this? Unsportsmanlike conduct, clearly. That was a lone goal, and Koeman refused to shake Van Nistelrooy's hand after the fixture. The season wasn't getting better, with Groningen basically nullifying the Eagles' offense, ending in a 2-0 defeat. Then to finish off August, Sparta Rotterdam scored an early goal off a corner, stunning the crowd. The scoreline remained throughout the entire match until very late, where Eyüp Aydin won a penalty. Could Romans give the Eagles their first goal of the season? If you wanted to see the Eagles go ahead, you needed to turn the table, as Koeman and co. were in last.
These dudes are all losing, they're not winning.
The club was desperate for money, so Dale being sold for 700k and the physio getting bought out by Ajax helped. In order for this train wreck to be stopped, several signings were made on deadline day. The son of Mark van Bommel Ruben was brought in on a free, a quick center back named John Boy was also signed for nothing, and the same could be said with the new starting right back, Ricardo van Rijn. There was one final player joining, a striker from Bayern Munich. Lucas Capaldo joined Go Ahead Eagles to help them score a goal. It wouldn't be easy, as his debut came against Feyenoord. With Lidberg and Stalker seemingly useless, all hopes were on this 19-year-old. With the side down 1-0 thanks to an unlucky deflection to Danilo Pereira, space was found behind Feyenoord's defense. Not just in the 64th minute, but in the 84th as well. Not only the first goals of the season, but a first win. His strikes and winning initially were a commonality. Victories versus FC Volendam and FC Emmen had him score in each. Heck, he even went on a 7-match scoring streak, hitting the back of the net against Ajax, SC Cambuur, Heerenveen, and NEC Nijmegen. None of these were won because heartbreak is a reality. A 76-minute Tadic goal for a loss to Ajax, A 95th minute equalizer from Bjorn Johnson versus Cambuur, and Heerenveen Sven van Beek's 89th minute winner was painful to watch. Nevertheless, Capado would go on again and score in an 8th consecutive league game with a lone goal against Excelsior. Stunning Twente 1-0 and losing to Vitesse 2-0 were respectable results, especially with them near the European places. Our turnaround can be thanked to the changes of the tactic from the fallout of Matchday 4. That involved the wingers becoming inverted, and the inverted wingbacks losing their first name. Now let's not talk about losing to a club named after a satellite in the Dutch Cup.
An historic feat that could reshape man's future.
In a world where the Netherlands actually won a World Cup, Go Ahead Eagles were beginning to make a push for European football. A Capado goal against Fortuna Sittard caused their manager to get sacked. Then versus Utrecht, a fairly respected club in the country, Van Rijn let it fly from distance. It seemed like the match was going in one direction, but a long ball caused John Boy to clatter his opponent and give Utrecht the equalizer from the spot. A big chance was missed in the 93rd minute, but off an ensuing corner, Ali Barak was highlighted. He was a player just bought for 90k up front, with a vision to make him a wide center back due to his incredible height. From the corner clearance, he received the ball, and with the instincts of his fullback ability, he took the ball wide and found a cross to Stalkers, who tucked the ball home for the winner. The substitutes worked, but against AZ's narrow formation, the team was getting dominated. Odgaard specifically cost his team the lead, and would cost them the 3 points. That's because out of nothing, a ball to Marcelo led to a cross into the box for Capado, and Matt Ryan had an absolute howler. An insane win that probably wasn't deserved, but that would balance out with a 2-0 loss to PSV right after.
I expect a warm welcome tomorrow.
Concluding the final transfer dealings of the season, Williamson, a player I didn't really play, returned to Bate for 325k. Sven Janssen and Isaac Lidberg also left for cheap fees. Grumman's only notable in was, of course, another loan from Bayern, a versatile wingback named Angelo Bruckner. There are things that don't belong with each other. Pineapple on pizza, Paul Pogba on a football pitch, and Go Ahead Eagles in a European spot. However, another 2 great months made the latter a near reality. Capado was continuing doing his thing, scoring in wins versus Valvik and Sparta Rotterdam. Now, despite the team scoring 2 against Nijmegen, it still ended in a draw thanks to Landry Basket Di Mata. Well, and our keeper. Di Mata is the only player to score more than Lucas in the Eredivisie. Still, Capado wasn't stopping against Twente, scoring 2 in the first half. Although that work would seemingly be in vain. After the interval, Twente responded with proper Antigas' goals, which tied the match. The game needed someone to influence it, and that brought on Shabalala, who made a pass to Marcelo, who passed it to Van Rijn. He, though, returned it to Marcelo in behind Twente's backline, and the young Dutchman had his shot parried right into Capado, whose positioning won it late. The Shabalala effect. With 9 appearances off the bench, which means he did not get a new contract. FC Emmen also required a late winner, this time from former Liverpool Academy prospect Ade Kanye. He didn't really do a lot this year, with that being his first. The month saw Valvik and Utrecht defeated again, thanks to more Capado goals, but it also had the first loss since PSV. In a match that could have gone either way, SC Cambuur stunned us with Michel Polisson getting behind a defense to win it for them. Grumman's ball knowledge on Cambuur is pretty low, but the man's got a list of things he hates, and Cambuur has risen up on that. In the Eredivisie, depending on who wins the cup, teams who currently finish either 4th to 7th or 5th to 8th go to a 4-team playoff for the Conference League playoff spot. With 8 games left, the Eagles were on track for one of them. A good result against Ajax would be a statement maker, but they've been running away with the league. Their manager was Joachim Löw, who was introduced as their new manager at the start of the season. Ever since the initial encounter, Grumman now has to set a reminder to bring hand sanitizer whenever he plays them. The quality between the clubs showed pretty quickly. With just a second on the ball, Bergwijn was able to smack this home. Aiden had an incredible chance right after, but he missed, just like Tadic. Then Bergwijn nearly kicked the ball out of the stadium as his confidence was way too high. The Eagles were doing well for themselves, and miraculously won a penalty just 6 minutes following the break. Wrench is running to the fans for some reason. Romans was stepping up to make amends for the pen earlier in the season, but he missed. That wasn't the only unfortunate thing, as Ajax not long later extended the lead. Fine margins, but subs were needed, and 2 of them combined fantastically to get the Eagles back into the match. Van Bommel's first for the club, and with 15 to go, an Aiden free kick was delivered perfectly onto the head of John Boy. In the next few minutes, Bruckner cleared a sure goal, and in the ensuing moments, Marcelo smacked the bar. It got to the last 5 minutes, but holding on proved to be difficult, as Bergwijn popped up one final time to show off and gave Tony Martinez the game winner. All the good work that was being done was about to collapse. Outside of a win versus Excelsior and rescuing a draw versus Vitesse in the 92nd minute, the end of season run was awful. Fortuna Sittard proved to be stubborn with a 1-1 draw, Groningen stunned the home crowd in the 90th minute, Feyenoord was just a better team, although it should have been far worse than a 1-0 loss. Then FC Volendam at home was an embarrassment of a lifetime. They were fighting to avoid relegation, and fighting was what they brought. An opener from Antonucci in the 16th minute opened the floodgates as goal after goal kept coming. It'd be 4-0 by the 72nd, and the useless winger Oliver Valker Edvardsen got sent off. He immediately was sent to the reserves, where he wasn't heard from again. From an outsider's perspective, it's hard to judge what could have caused this. Was Kroemen's managerial ability not as good as his counterfeit reputation? Well, he needed to use those abilities with a team meeting, where he stopped a losing run. However, some would consider his side lucky to get out of Heerenveen with a draw. That had them finish the league campaign in 7th, which is an incredible accomplishment. He looks like he should be a McDonald's mascot, but Kroemen had the chance to bring European football. Due to Ajax's cup win over 2nd division side FC Dordrecht, these 4 teams had a chance for European football. A mini knockout stage tournament with 2 legs in the semis and 2 legs in the final. So Go Ahead Eagles had to take on FC Twente, who once won the Eredivisie with Steve McLaren.
Champions League.
With no wins in the last 5, this was a massive challenge on Kroemen's men. But in the home fixture, Rashan Fernandez opened the scoring in the 5th minute. A former Twente player who made 1 senior appearance for them, he was having a similar struggle at his current club. He barely played in the first half of the campaign, but after complaining about game time, chances were given to him. That was his 6th of the season, and he'd get his 7th later on as Marcelo found a bunch of space and his shot went off the post straight to Rashan. I don't know where this performance came from, but it's what the fans needed. With the second leg days later, an incredible cross for another Rashan goal and a neat pass to Stalkers increased the aggregate lead to 4-0. Twente had no chance. Is what would be the case if the backline wasn't completely dismantled prior to this match. John Boy and Nauber were both suspended because yellow card accumulation still counted. Plus, Ayub Aydin was injured and out for the season. So despite these 3 never playing with each other as a trio and the lead dropping to 1, the Eagles survived and advanced to the final. They'd meet with Vitesse, who dealt with Utrecht comfortably. The positive was the first leg was at home, and everyone except Aydin returned. The bad news was that Capado has been crap for the last month and was benched for Stalkers for these fixtures. Although, that proved to be a blessing, as he'd win a penalty in the 24th minute. Another problem, Romans was stepping up to take it. Despite his history, he slaughtered it. Now, Vidovic was causing the team problems, but he was not in the right environment to succeed. To be fair, the Chelsea Loan Academy were unlucky to be down. As the clock kept ticking, desperate attempts were made to find an equalizer. That led to gaps behind your defense, with chances arriving. It seemed like those would come in vain, but instead of wasting time on a corner, it was delivered to the far post, where Kozłowski stupidly handled the ball, giving Romans another chance to be the hero. And he did just that. A 2-0 advantage going into Vitesse's yard still wasn't a foregone conclusion. We get it back, Fernandez. Romans. Adekanye! It seemed like the most unlikeliest players had been heroes at the most important time. Vitesse would grab one late in the half, but ensuing that 15-minute break, the boy John would seal Go Ahead Eagles' fate into the Conference League qualifiers. Nothing in response from the opponent, as Kroemen has done the unthinkable with a side who only wanted to avoid relegation. I'm sure he actually surprised himself, as Go Ahead Eagles are going on a European tour. He actually might be a good manager.